Alright, we're going to look at rotations today. Last couple of days we've looked at some rigid transformations. The first one we looked at was translations, and then we looked at reflections. And we're going to do another rigid transformation where we're going to rotate only about the origin. So the center of the rotation is going to be at 0, 0. Right in the middle. Okay. First thing I want to do is I want you to do the same. You can watch this video and pause it as you like and keep up with things, or you can watch the whole video and come back as you like. So I can just start with the polygon tool here, and I'm going to, it doesn't matter, but you should probably make each vertice on the triangle, make it somewhere where it snaps to the grid. So I'm going to put it here at 1, 3, and then my next point, it doesn't really matter what I do with it actually. I can put it there, and then I can put, let's do this. So it's right here, and then finish that off. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and name these points. So I'll name the points. And I can do that here. So I'll name that point, name this point, and this point here. And so we can see that we've named the vertices of the triangle ABC. Okay, and notice it's colored here. And I'm going to do some rotations. I can zoom in and out a bit so I can see that there. It's hard to see that this is a y value of 3, but you can see it if I zoom in a little bit, and you can see a little bit more detail. So for rotations, when I do rotate this 90 degrees, I'll start by rotating it 90 degrees. We're going to go from quadrant 1, and we're going to rotate this direction. It's counterclockwise, that's a positive direction, so to quadrant 2, and then we could go to quadrant 3 and then quadrant 4. So when I rotate this, we're going to notice some things happen with the coordinates. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my point here. I'm going to call this will automatically be called D, and we can refer that, so we could name that, yeah. So we can call that D. On the exercise that I gave you, I called it X, and that meant the center. So if I called C for center, that's already been taken here. Okay. What we're going to do is I want to select, I want to select my circle, my triangle here, and I'm going to do a rotation at 90 degrees. So if I go to my reflection tool, or sorry, we already did reflections. I'm going to do the rotation around a point. So I'm going to go here to my rotation. If I go and look at this object and I reflect it around this point here, it's going to ask me how many degrees I want to go. So I said 90 degrees. So if we go 90 degrees, it's going to go to the second quadrant. I could also go the other direction. So maybe we could think about that later on, but that would be a negative direction. But 90 degrees is a more logical way to go. So I'm just going to see what that looks like. Okay, and there it is. Now just to make things more visible, let's go ahead and maybe change, what did I do? Change the way this one looks. So here we go. So I'm going to start the first one. We can make it green, and then that comes up nice and there. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to move things around here. I'm going to go ahead and do another rotation. So I'm going to rotate this. So instead of 90 degrees, if I go to the third quadrant here, that would be a full 180 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tool here to rotate around the origin. So I'm going to take this object again, and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. If I went the other direction, You could think about what would that measurement be. It would be a negative measurement per angle. And how far is it to go all the way around? Okay, again, so I've got another reflection. So this has gone 180 degrees. And let's go ahead and, let's see, change that one to blue. So green, then blue. Okay. And then again, I'm going to make one more rotation. So I'm going to go, I think I'm already, well, no, I better go here. This tool. I'm going to go and I'm going to rotate around the origin. Now this one makes more sense to go negative 90. So I could say negative 90. I could also say 270. They should be the same. And notice that they're all corresponding. So when I have A, B, C, I have A prime, B prime, C prime. So you can see that the corresponding parts of the triangles are labeled appropriately. Then we have A prime 1, B prime 1, C prime 1, and then we have A prime 2, B prime 2, and C prime 2. And I'm just going to go ahead and give this one a different color too. So I guess I have to switch tools there. Let's give it red so it stands out. Is that, or maybe there's red. Okay. So now I have all of the figures set up here. But I want to take a look at something here. If you notice, when we rotate around the origin, we're creating circles because the distance is going to stay the same when we rotate around an object. Okay. So if I go to my circle tool here, let's go to the circle, and I can just go through the center, and if I pull that circle, you can see, oh, we snap to B. So we can see the distance from the center to B, B prime, and so on. Okay, well, what does that tell us there? Let's do another circle. In this case, let's go to, let's try to snap it to A. There we go, it's on A. And another one. Finally to snap it to B. If you get close to the point, then it snaps. If I go out here, it'll actually make another point. So this will give us what we were looking for. Okay. So here is, our pre-image was in quadrant 1. And then we've rotated it 3 different times, 90-degree increments. And so what I want you to do here, I want you to go ahead and take a screenshot of this image. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm just going to take a screenshot. Okay, and I just take this screenshot here. And I've told you on homework number 3 assignment how to title that. I think I said to call it rotations. And then to call it around the origin, something like that. Okay, now after that, when you're going through the assignment, there's some things I want you to use. I want you to use some tools to measure some things. One of the things we can do is we can measure the angles, okay? And so when you do this, you can go and reset it each time. So these are the measurement tools here. We can start with the angle. So the very first rotation we did is we rotated 90 degrees when we looked at this shape here. Okay, but let's look at each individual point. So if I look at the angle and it goes from B to D to B prime, we can see that measurement there is 90 degrees. Okay, I might need to move this around. Oops. I might need to move this around to see that. So if I move this, it stays there. That says 90 degrees. Okay, I can go back, and I can also measure again, and I can keep using this tool. I can measure the angle from A to D to A prime, and again it says 90 degrees. Okay, I can measure the angle from any of these rotations. So we went from A to A prime 1, this figure here went 180 degrees, so we can test that. So we have the tool selected already. So let's use something different. Let's use C. So from C to D to C prime 1, and it gives us 180 degrees. I can also look at from the other way. If I go from C1, C prime 1 to C, what does that do? That's also 180 degrees, okay? And another thing that we can do is we can look at some of these distances. So I'm going to use a different tool here. Let's go, there's a distance tool there. Okay, so if I can measure from D to B prime, it gives me the measurement, and it shows it as a segment DB. Okay, I can go from D to B. Well, yeah, that should be the same, and we can see that. Okay, so we can do those measurements as well. So this is, we're only looking at rotations about the origin. I want you to think about how we could make a rotation without using this tool. Okay, so we're looking at and measuring the distances between the center, the rotation point, and we could measure it for all these points. However, since it's a triangle, we can just look at specific points. Okay, that should get you set for this assignment.